There.
Do you minimize that? Okay. All right, redirect.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting of the Codington County Board of Commissioners to order. It is Tuesday, September 20th, 2022. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I believe it was my turn this week. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, just for your information, if you have a cell phone, if you could silence it. If you need to take a call, step out into the rotunda, and we are streaming live on YouTube. Call for public comment. We will take comments from individuals on items that are not on the agenda, and we will address those during the open part of our meeting. The two phone numbers are 605-882-6248 or 605-882-6297. We also have Lee Gable joining us by Zoom. So item number 3, conflict of. Move up the, okay.
Since he helped you with.
Yep, yes. That will be, okay, so we'll move them up right away after we approve the
The
minutes.
plats.
Yep, we'll move the plats up as soon as we get done with the agenda and minutes. So just, that's the addition to the agenda to move item number 13 up. Are there any conflict of interest items on the agenda for fellow commissioners today?
No.
Okay, action to approve the September 20th agenda 2022
So
with
moved.
the,
Second.
all right, motion by Van Duzen, second by Waterman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, that motion carries. Action to approve the September 8th. September 8th,
Second.
2022 minutes of the Codington County
So moved.
Board of Commissioners. Motion by Johnson,
Second.
second by
Second.
Water. Oh, we're waiting. Any additions or corrections? Not hearing any. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. So then we will now handle item number 13, action to approve plat resolutions. Luke, if you would come up, please. Morning, Luke.
Good morning.
Matt.
Which one's first, Matt?
Yep.
I'll turn that one on. All right. So we've got 2 plats for you. Both were recommended for approval at the August meeting. I just haven't been able to coordinate my schedule with your schedule very well here. The first one is a plat of Don Mack Edition, the southwest quarter, section 32 of the South Flavor of Kransburg Township. That is, this is actually one, it didn't require a farmstead exemption or anything. It's just kind of an irregularly shaped piece. It is, from a standpoint of going east and west in between Watertown and Kransburg, it's almost smack dab in between. And then you go straight south all the way to the county line in section 32 on the south side of the interstate where it goes kitty corner is where this is at. Again, it's an irregularly shaped piece, kind of an L shape that goes around their farm buildings. For transfer purposes, again, recommended for approval. There were no issues.
Move to approve. Well, second.
Okay, motion by Johnson, second by Van Duzen. Comments or questions? Did you have something, Troy?
No.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Not hearing any. That motion carries. All right, let's move on to the next one.
All right, so the next one is a plat of Redland Second Edition in the east half of the northeast quarter of section 19, 119, range 52 west in the former Siston-Wahpeton Reservation. That is in Dexter Township. For those that know the area, that is about halfway between Florence and I-29 on County Road, as County Road 4 goes, that's 1/60th, and then you go about 3/4 of a mile north again is where that's at. Again, it's not nowhere, but it's about halfway to Cottonwood Lake So again, 35-acre lot recommended for approval by the Planning Commission. The irregularly shaped, the reason we're doing this as a plat and not a legal description is because they're following a tree line that runs on the diagonal. As you see that angle that runs from center to northwest, that's a tree line that they're following. So that's what you've got. The one thing that I will point out on this again is that with the updated flood maps that likely will be coming into place eventually, there are no changes. It actually dead ends. If you look at that one map that you see up there, there's a north-south road there that borders this on the east. Actually, the floodplain stops pretty much right there. So that covers it. Won't be an issue. That's all.
Move to approve.
Motion by Johnson,
Second.
second by Gable. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Before I run, if it's possible.
Any opposed? That
Sorry.
motion carries.
I just wanted to update you. I know at some meetings I've mentioned, we've got the flood maps that we've been sent by FEMA to be updated. Two things I wanted to point out. One is that because of some information that was not taken into account, and I'll back up into that in a second, it sounds like the adoption process on that is going to be slowed. It's already taken 3 presidential administrations to get this done. It might take another one. That is a flip comment. Who knows how long it'll be. The second point that I want to point out is that the reason that it is that way is that, and speculatively, but what I'm noticing as I'm looking through the information is that they started this process in 2015 and using the data that was there. And from my understanding, they all but ignored any private contracting work, FEMA changes that went on, anything that got sent into FEMA from 2015 forward, they all but ignored it. And so there are several people that took themselves out of the floodplain that were basically ignored. And so I think that it's because they want to take a look at them individually if I'm apologizing for them. If I'm not apologizing for them, I could say any number of things. But the bottom line is that it sounds like they're doubling over on some of them looking at that. But just be advised, if you're talking to somebody and that's what's going on, just reading between the lines, it just so happens that pretty much everything submitted from 2015 to today didn't get accepted for this one. So
At this point, the maps that we looked at are what's standing yet.
the maps, at this point, the maps that you adopted in 2010, you being previous versions of commissioners adopted in 2010 are the effective ones. The maps that were presented back at the meeting at the zoo here going on, I'm gonna go about 6 weeks ago. Those are the ones that are proposed, and I don't expect there to be any changes to that map, except for the fact that they will likely take into account at least some of the letters of map change, the individual, my property versus your property, that sort of thing. But again, I'm not promising that everyone is going to be taken out without calling their friendly FEMA representative and saying it needs to be taken out. But the good news is we are in that time frame that my understanding is you should be able to just reach out and contact them. I'm working with 2 property owners in the county now that are the only 2 that kind of, I don't have a nice way of saying what happened to them, but basically I'm working with them to try and get that squared away because it's silly. They did everything they needed to, so we'll get it squared away, hopefully.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Luke. All right. Next, we'll move on then to item number 6, public hearing on the 2023 Codington County Provisional Budget. And we will continue to do this every Tuesday till the last Tuesday,
Next
the
week.
27th.
Yep,
Yeah,
we'll
already.
adopt next
We
week.
will adopt next week. So I will open the public hearing then on the 2023 Codington County Provisional Budget. If anyone would like to speak on that. Not seeing anyone, so I will close the public hearing. How about fellow commissioners? Next week, I guess if there's any changes you want to see happen, those will have to be addressed at that time, or if there's something you want to talk about today. All right.
I had something on here, but I should have marked it. I can't find it now. I'll find it for next week.
Okay. Sounds good. Yep. All right, so let's move on then to monthly reports. We'll start with the welfare director. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning.
Wait, Sarah.
Good morning. All right, you have the chart with our monthly report there. It's starting to look more accurate. So I'm liking how it's just starting to better reflect our services and what we're doing. We're still working on getting the right information into the right places. Some of it's just a change in our work processes of getting people in, but you can see August was a pretty busy month for us. But again, I think it's just more accurately reflecting where we're at. More of the case management services happening. It was a busy month though, of a lot of needs of things, lots of referrals to ICAP. And then one of the things you'll notice at the bottom that's kind of nice is where we're spending our time. And so that's a nice reflection that a lot of our time is going to CARES, the care coordination. Again, we're working on getting this in more accurately, but
The only question I have is the funeral assistance costs. Those have not been updated to where they actually are.
yeah, and I'll check on that.
Okay. Sounds good.
Which one was that?
The funeral
Funeral assistance
assistance,
Yeah, I was
costs.
wondering about that.
16.
Because this is what it is currently where you're at. Look on down there, what's left in that account. And so that's something too. You want to look at your budget. You budgeted the same amount, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, so the problem with this is it's just from May.
Okay.
And so it doesn't have,
You didn't
it's not
have
actually the whole
January
year.
through May. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And so this would, yeah,
But that's something you might want to look at.
we may need to increase that for next year.
Yep. So that would have to be done.
Because more, yeah, we had 3 of them, I think, that came through this month. So that really bumps it up.
Yep.
We
Okay.
may need to look at adjusting, moving some stuff around.
Yep.
This
So
is through May, you said?
Yeah,
From May through now.
May till
Okay,
May.
okay.
when we started
That makes
using the
more sense.
system. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, yeah, thank you for pointing that out.
Up.
Okay. Yeah, the CARES, so she spent about 60 hours in August on CARES and we were reimbursed $3,000 for administration fees for that. ICAP is about 25 hours for the case management, housing assistance, jail assessments, finding apartments, and then doing some community meetings with that. And you guys don't have this part. This is just me talking to you, just giving you an update.
Thank you.
Donuts?
Yep.
Okay, the South Dakota Association of County Welfare Officials met last week along with all of the other county welfare or county agencies. One of the things we identified is working on identifying who the active members are in the county welfare because different counties provide welfare services in different ways. And so we're going to be sending out a survey to all of the counties to identify what counties are actually providing with that.
So you mean actually who has welfare directors and who the auditor is currently serving, or?
Even like what counties are actually providing welfare services.
Oh,
I know
okay.
the thing is that they're mandated by the state
Yeah.
to provide services, but some of the counties have such a small population that they don't actually provide any. Or like, it's really, like, they really just don't, it's not a service that they have to provide. And so we need to know who is actually active, because if I mean, with that resolution, we were trying to get it passed, but if we have 3 or 4 counties that don't really do it, that it doesn't affect at all, then we need to identify what those counties are. So I don't think it's going to be a large number, but we're also going to try to identify what services different counties provide as well. So who has a welfare official? Yeah. And then what services they provide with that. So our staff was invited by the Beacon Center to participate in a certification training for the adult needs and strengths assessment. And so three of us are going to become certified in that assessment. And we were lucky, it was a free training, just a Zoom training that we were able to do. And it's going to help us be able to prioritize what our client needs are and to better meet client needs with that. So that was,
Is
That was
that
good training.
what the strategic planning, not strategic planning, but the working group last Thursday, was it the Thursday before? That video?
oh, the resiliency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's-
No, this one is a little bit different, but it goes right along with that. And,
Mhm.
and I can see where this adult need, it's called the ANZA, Adult Needs and Strengths Assessment, would be helpful on a broader community level.
Right.
So it's just nice to know kind of what's going on with that too. So that could potentially be something with that.
Okay.
Yeah. The impact program with Nicole, we're working on setting up the CART team or the community assessment referral team. That'll meet once a week to identify who has needs and how to get them the best services. Kind of those high utilizers in the community with that will be part of that. Or the people that work with that population will be part of that CART team.
So is she fully trained now and able to start?
Yes. And she is seeing clients.
Okay.
Yeah. The other thing that we're really running into is transportation is a huge issue. That we're gonna need to have an option for her to be able to transport people. And the way we can do that is if we have a vehicle. So I've had some conversations with Todd at DAV regarding the,
That's extra one.
the vehicle that is coming back from DAV. He's trying to find out what the county share of that would be left to buy out, and then looking at buying that. And then we could get reimbursed mileage for that. We can't buy it under the grant, but I can get reimbursed mileage under the grant to help offset the
The
cost for
cost
that.
for the fuel.
Yeah, and it's just some of the things, for example, we have somebody that needs help getting housing, and in order to get housing, you have to have an ID and social security card and birth certificate. Those are part of that. And so it's too much for a transit ride to go to the DMV and then to social security and then to the courthouse, and you can't do that all in one day. And it's a lot of transportation, a lot of barriers with that. And so we're looking into that, and I just wanted to let you know that that's something we're pursuing.
Yeah, it would be
With
nice
that.
if we could keep it back here locally, you know, if we have a need for that. So
Yeah. So, and the
Looking
prices.
to buying a bicycle.
Well,
Yeah.
and we do have families that we've helped get bikes. It doesn't work so well in January. Or with the baby. But
Yeah, that would be a perfect use for that vehicle
Mhm.
if we can
Yeah.
keep it back
and
here.
cheer.
yeah. So
since
yeah,
nobody seems to know where it
Awesome.
should go.
yeah,
Still some life left in it.
right. Yeah, we'll just use it locally and
Right.
keep
It's
it.
just within
Mhm.
town. So
Yep. Yep, it would be good for that. So yeah, we're having those conversations.
Good.
Also, in the past month, we've been housing people in hotels. The hotels have worked with us really well, but there's been some situations that at this point we received, actually Salvation Army received notice that the last hotel that was accepting vouchers from Salvation Army will no longer accept vouchers. Which extends to, we're working with the same population, it extends to us. So we currently have no hotel in town that will accept vouchers that will house people. And what that means is September 1st, we had three individuals and families that had no homes, evictions for random issues, and we had no options for. So, and the challenge is they're Watertown residents. They're our community. We just literally have nowhere to put them. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about an option that we're coming up with, but the challenge is real, and we're not bringing people into Watertown. We're just taking care of our residents. with
and this
that.
is not long-term, this is short-term, just so we can get
Mhm.
things situated for them, but
Yes, yeah, so it's a challenge though. So the reality is hotels aren't the right place for homeless people to be. They have a lot of challenges and they need a lot of support, and hotels aren't the right option for that anyway. So our interagency meeting, which Brenda mentioned, was focused on resilient communities. That was the second Thursday of the month, and 35 people attended, which was a good turnout. We talked about resilient communities and how to make our community stronger with that. So that was good, and hopefully we'll continue that work. The Helpline Center Network of Care continues to move forward. More agencies are coming on board. Brothers and Sisters Behind Bars, I think, is going to be within the next week or so, as well as the Human Service Agency is coming really close to being on board with that too. So some good ones coming on. I just wanted to give a rundown then of all the working groups that are meeting and what's happening in the working groups, because there's been a lot of really great work happening The housing working group met in August. This was a super powerful meeting. It was kind of a identify the need, address the need, and work for the need. What happened is we had somebody from the South Dakota Housing Authority meeting with us and talking about what options we have for funding. We had the right people in that meeting, Brenda, the mayor, Eric Scott with Crestone, and Dawn Sicking with the Beacon Center. And we're able to have a conversation. And the short story is we ended up pursuing a grant for an emergency housing option in Watertown. So I spent the next 2-3 weeks doing that grant. It's not going to be through the county, though. I want to be really clear about that. It's not going to be for county funding. If we receive the grant through the South Dakota Housing Authority, we'll create a new nonprofit organization to manage an emergency option in Watertown. It's non-congregate shelter.
Yes,
And
it
so,
is.
and that is really huge, that we don't want a place where everybody can come and stay together. That's not what we want. And that's not what we need in Watertown. We need space with individual units for people that need temporary shelter.
Yes. So this is not a homeless shelter. It
Right.
is non-congregate, short-term
Mhm.
housing.
Yeah, and so to really address that immediate single need. And so waiting to hear back, I just Friday had some edits that I had to make on the application, and so it's still coming through. It's a really exciting opportunity for our community. The funding that we're applying for is the ARP funding that South Dakota Housing Authority received for this exact purpose, to non-congregate emergency shelter as part of the COVID funds. And so hopefully that'll happen and move forward. And yeah, again, I'm really excited.
And this was a one-time opportunity for these funds. It will not come around again. Operational, that is something that's ongoing, but this is a one-time deal.
Yep. Yeah. So be watching for, there will be more information about that coming forward. The Community Transformation Working Group identified the need for a community needs assessment before moving forward. And so that is a grant request that I have on the agenda too, but that's where that came from, is that group wanted to know exactly what the needs are before they start developing programs and looking at what other services people need with that. The Mental Health Working Group has decided they really want to focus on students. And one of the things that came out of that is we had an in-person meeting with Dr. Jeff Danielson and the Assistant Superintendent. And from that meeting, he has appointed an administrator from the school district on every single working group. And so it's really exciting to have decision makers from the school district being part of those meetings and those discussions so that they can really be engaged in the work that we're doing. The Centralized Services and Community Education Working Group, we received notice yesterday that the innovation grant through the Department of Health has been awarded. We will need to decide if we're going to accept that $25,000. So that'll probably have to be next week's agenda for you to be able to, for us to be able to accept that. But that will be for the marketing campaign for the social services and then a media campaign to raise awareness about social services in the community.
And that was through the Department of Health, correct?
Yep, that's the Department of Health, the funds that they received through the CDC. With that.
That was good. That was accepted.
Yeah. So that's an exciting approval. And so we just have to decide if we'll accept it. Again, that's another pass through.
Right. And it's no county dollars will be needed for
There's no
match or
match.
anything like that. No
No
match.
match on
No.
that.
No,
No.
just strictly for that purpose.
Yep. And then the childcare working group has decided that they need to do a childcare survey. And so we'll be doing that in October, a childcare survey. That's another exciting, it's fun because that's a different group of people. A lot of HR managers, business people, things like that are really invested in that. The Watertown Development Company is really going to be instrumental in getting that survey out. They are working on kind of finalizing it, and then they're going to compile the information. A couple of things that we do need from that is incentive funds, and then some just funds for marketing, printing, that kind of thing that we'll need. And so that's the other grant request that I have on the agenda, and that's from the Watertown Community Foundation to request funds from them to help facilitate that survey with that. So those are the working groups, lots of exciting, fun things going on. And I just want to end by thanking you all for your support. I just had a conversation with somebody yesterday that said they were excited about all the things that are happening in the community. And they said that this is happening because it's from the county. And that the fact that one of our community governments leading all of this initiative is really a good incentive for people to buy in and to be part of this. So thank you for your support and for everything that you're doing. It really is making a difference to our community.
Well, and I would like to echo that with thank you for everything
Yes.
that you've done to put this all together and to put a lot of these groups, to spearhead these groups and to also thank the community members that are part of these groups because we couldn't do it without them. So
Absolutely. And that, yeah, I will say it up and down, it's like your support and everybody coming to the table to do it. I can do what I can do, but I couldn't do it if everybody wasn't coming and
Right.
being an active participant. And so their participation has made this
Our
possible.
conversation brought back my question on the budget.
Oh,
So-
what you
so
were
as I
wondering
got-
about?
as long as I got both of you here,
Uh-huh.
the mental health board, mental illness board,
Mhm.
$50,000 is, and who's on that board?
The chairman in Codington County is
Terry,
Teresa.
Terry Sutton, and
Okay,
Carrico is also on it, and they are looking for a third person, but most of our Board of Mental Illness charges come from clients that we had in Yankton who are undergoing Board of Mental Illness
okay,
hearings.
all right.
Yep, and that is, the amount has been pretty stable. The 50,000 has been working for us, so,
Uh-huh.
yeah, but that is what it is.
Well,
It's just,
Just when we're
it's
talking
for
about this,
attorney-
attorneys, it's
pay
for
the-
attorneys and people representing those with mental illnesses that have to go through a hearing, and normally they're out of Yankton.
okay, yeah, thank you, appreciate that, answered my question.
Yeah, but that is accurate. It all plays in together.
Mhm.
The work that we're doing with all of this hopefully will improve
Yeah.
those pieces too.
Yes, yes, because anything that we can help
Mhm.
actually helps our community as a
Mhm.
whole, so, and taxpayers, so.
Yep,
All right, is that your report?
yep.
I guess while you're here, we might as well take on item number 8, those two, action to approve the grant applications as submitted by the welfare director. We'll take one at a time.
Is that supposed to say Watertown Community?
Yes.
Okay, okay. I just wanted to make sure I had it worded right.
Yeah,
It's right
yes.
on the agenda, so.
Okay,
Okay.
yes.
So the very first
Okay.
one then is the Watertown Area Community Foundation grant
Mhm.
request for a childcare survey. So Sarah kind of explained it. Did you want to add any more to that?
Just that because the Watertown Development Company is going to take on some pieces of that, we can actually decrease our request to the Watertown Community Foundation. And so I'm going to change the request to $1,000 because the Watertown Development Company will be able to do the reporting piece of it. So thank you.
So, and this
To
is just permission to apply?
Yep.
This is
Voice
permission
to
to apply
Okay,
and it
all
would
right,
be
so
for
that's what the motion
$1,000.
would be.
we
Okay.
take them separately.
Okay,
Yes.
yep.
So
I'll-
moved.
Second,
Okay, motion by Johnson, and this is
The Watertown
just to
area.
apply. Yep, Watertown
Foundation
area.
grant
A motion by
request.
Johnson, second by Van Duzen. Any other comments or questions, Lee?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, that motion carries.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on then to the second one, South Dakota Community Foundation Beyond Idea Grant Request for a
Mhm.
Community Needs Assessment and hiring a consultant. This is a big one.
This is a big one. So this is for actually at $90,000. Originally, it was going to be 100,000, but I worked with the CRHI, which is I always have to, the Center for Rural Health Improvement. And they gave a draft proposal. It's nothing that's been approved, but they were able to give me some numbers. And so we ended up with $90,000 for that request. Of that request, $30,000 would be for the needs assessment survey, which is what the community transformation group has identified that we need. That would be with Odney. They would develop the survey, facilitate the survey, do some one-on-one interviews with people to really get some qualitative data from that, and then compile it and present the report to us. So that would be $25,000 for them, and then another $5,000 for incentives, materials, advertising, those kinds of things with them. Then the other 60,000 of that would be for consulting with the USD Center for Rural Health Improvement. And what that would be, in conversations with Erin from CRHI, she identified that the work that we're doing is actually called collective impact. It's a collective impact model. And so it would really formalize that collective impact model. One of the key things that we need to get in place is a backbone support or infrastructure so that this can carry on long term. Right now, it's been a lot of me facilitating that and be the center of that. And that's not sustainable for our community long-term. And so they would help us get that sustainable piece in place so that we can carry forward with this, as well as work with each of the working groups to get pieces in place.
And I would add, Erin, as
Mhm.
time goes, she has been very instrumental in bringing other grants to other
Mhm.
communities. So
Mhm.
as we move forward into this, there could be other
Mhm.
grants that we may be eligible for supporting.
Which I'm really excited about. The last month of has been spent a lot of time on writing grants. And if we can have them write grants to bring money into our community, I would
Yes.
be all for.
Grant writers. Yeah,
Yes.
they're
yeah.
important.
I took a course in that, but it wasn't what I wanted to do for a career.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So I would look for a motion then to approve Sarah's to apply for the $90,000
So
South Dakota.
moved.
Motion by Gable,
Second, it.
second by Johnson. Any other comments, questions?
Just a quick question, just to confirm, this is so there's no match to this, correct?
correct.
county.
Yep, that's
Okay.
correct. This is the
100%.
South Dakota Community Foundation has received Bush funds, Bush Foundation funds. And so they're dispersing the Bush Foundation funds.
Fantastic.
Yes.
We
Yep.
like those.
Yeah, it's nice to bring something like that back to our
Mhm.
community.
Yeah.
Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Thank
Any
you.
opposed? Not hearing any, motion carries. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Sarah.
Okay, let's move on then to the facility manager and his report. Morning, Steve.
Steve.
Good morning. Now that I owe donuts.
Casey's. Can we put a request?
Not the day
in?
old ones either.
And being that, I think I'll turn around and start out my little deal here a little bit. I'm gonna go to the detention center. That there was a call from a generator technician. We've had a couple issues where the generator won't start up, so that was my call from there. So didn't silence it after I tried to get a hold of them. So also at the detention center, toilet that was back ordered has now been installed. And so that process is done, and cell door is in the process of being manufactured at this present time.
Great.
Ag building, a few things going on, auction, a few events taking place. One thing I'll turn around and point out, the American Cornhole Association has a cornhole
Yeah.
competition coming on at the 1st of October, and I believe they are a touring deal, and this is the first in South Dakota and the only in South Dakota, I guess, my understanding. So,
Big
We
deal.
authorized that here a couple months ago.
Yeah.
okay.
They
Mhm.
came
Yep.
up and,
I can't wait to see that.
Sell
Yeah.
alcohol.
I didn't know it was a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
I guess.
It's cornhole.
Are you gonna play?
Cornhole.
somebody's got a toy doing it.
All right, government building. Roofing was occurring the past couple of weeks, as everybody in this courthouse kind of known and heard the noise, but that has been now completed. I will bring a change order. They had to turn around and do some different things up there because the brick and so that was kind of crumbling, so they had to put some plywood around the outside. So I'll present that next week to you. They didn't get it to me until Friday, so. We'll jump down to the park. The staff is starting to get some things ready and prepared for the closing of September 30th, because we kind of want to get things wrapped up as close as we can to get the water all blown out and so that before it possibly freeze up. Plus, we get warranty to come out, and they have a big project that's gonna start of theirs after the 1st of October. So we want to get that ready so it can get blown out as soon as possible. Currently right now, the Girl Scout agreement has been sent. It is in right now across Becky to review it. So I'll get that done so we can get that come across as soon as possible for that to be signed. And then as of last night at 4 p.m. bookings, there has been $170,669.08 so far for bookings. POS would be as all sales of our gas and wood, $4,045 with a total of $174,714.08. I really need to investigate that 8 cents. It's somewhere in the it's somewhere in the booking, so I don't know why it's,
Tax?
it shouldn't be taxed. I have no idea. I don't know. It's an odd,
Backwards.
yeah,
Yeah,
so. We'll go into the weed. As of Friday, 3/4 of the county right-of-ways have been sprayed and 1/3 of the townships are completed. We're kind of holding off a little bit with the rest of the state roads due to, they went out and started doing their cut already for this fall, so we want to get a little bit of regrowth and so that, so probably in the next couple of weeks, we'll be hitting that, so that as soon as they get done with some of the other stuff. Also attended the state weed commission meeting and weed tour last week. Of course, Brenda sits on it and now she will be leaving the commission off that. We toured a Canadian thistle site, test plot site, sorry. Well, there's a couple sites of Canadian thistles. We also went to a site where wormwood is an issue in some in some private landowners. Wormwood in the central part of the state is not a huge deal. So these residents were unaware of what kind of weed they had. And so there's a grant that they were helping assist to educate them and help to get it so they can get that under control. Went to the Ringnet Energy ethanol plant in Oneida. Toured that. A Canadian thistle biocontrol site. Like I said, a lot of Canadian thistle stuff. And then we also went to Dakota Lakes Research Farm. West Nile, traps are all been taken from the communities. I have billed them and have received already checked back and so that, trying to get that process because in the next month until that, they'll have to get for grant reimbursements. So, and currently right now, phones, I will get things all put together and present it to you guys next week for discussion and possible action. So
Yeah, it's gonna be.
that is a lot of process.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a big one.
So that ends my report. If anybody has anything.
Madam
have
Chair.
one.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was contacted by one of my constituents up in the Northeast that frequents Memorial Park during the summertime with her family, and she wanted to pass on that how pleased she is with the park and the condition of the
Okay.
park this year, and she's very happy. She likes the online booking system and things seem to be working really well for them out there. So I wanted to pass that
Good.
on.
Yep.
You could share that with our managers too,
All
how
right.
much they appreciate them. I also did a random spot check of the bathrooms one night as I was making my way through that part of the county, and very clean. You know, they're in good shape. So yeah, that's all I got. But please pass on the
All right.
good work.
That's why I had the positive part of the, but now
Yeah.
I've had a couple of constituents contact me that don't, it's hard for them to understand that we don't make money.
No, we do not make money.
And can we publicize these numbers somewhere so these people, or at least give them to me so those, at least the two parties that have contacted me, I can show them.
Yeah.
But, I tell them, no parks make money, and they just can't believe that.
Yeah, and you know, I don't think they realize, and so that, well, this past year and so that with gas prices, it's been about $1,000 a month for mowers,
Yeah.
you know, for gas. Our electric and, you know, and bill and water and so that runs about $5,000-6,000 a month just alone for out at the park. So
There are some things, you know, we've had this discussion about Memorial Park not being a source of revenue for the county. But there are certain things in communities that you have that are quality of life improvements, right?
right.
So
I keep
those
telling them.
dollars that come to Memorial Park are also spent in our communities and, you know, eating in our restaurants and everything else. So, yeah, we don't make money on it, but in a roundabout way, you know, it's a quality of life issue for our
Right.
folks. So.
I keep telling them it's a service that we're providing to the people.
Tourism.
Tourism, yeah,
So
you gotta have a place to camp.
But they, I guess when they pay their bill or whatever it is, they think that how, all these campers out here, they gotta be making a ton of
You
money.
know, and the thing of it is, you know, we're relatively in respect to all other campgrounds. I mean, you know, you go, if you would go into Minnesota, Iowa, you're paying $45 to $50 per night with just electric hookups. So, you know, and some of them here have water hookups and ain't even close to that rate and amount. So,
their concerns are, they think the rates are too high, obviously.
Well, I don't know if they think the rates are too high. They just can't believe that we don't make money. I think is the bottom line. They,
Gotcha.
well, there's a lot of facilities out there. I mean, there's a lot of bathroom facilities and you go to a lot of state parks.
yeah.
There's only a couple facilities of bathrooms that has to be maintained and they have vaults. You know, whereas
Wow.
we have all bathrooms and shower houses and those things cost
pretty
and
easy.
add money.
It'd be pretty easy at the end of the year to show them the expenditure versus revenue report and show them the difference
Yeah, I like
between
that.
the
Well,
two.
I think
So
we do have
We pretty
something
well,
like
we
that.
do. We do.
Sometimes
When it
it's
comes to the
pretty
end of the year,
close.
we pretty well
Yeah.
I'll get to put together what our full total final.
The
is
one
of it.
party said they can't believe that we don't develop the west end of that park.
Well,
And there's said all that open space up there, and I'm saying, yeah, if we do, we just are gonna lose more money.
well, the thing of it is that is one of the places where in the next couple of weeks, I plan on turning around and start to get the disc golf course started. You know, you also have to have something for people to
Yep.
be able to utilize and
Mhm.
do.
Yep.
And that is one of the things that I'm trying to do. The ball field don't get used a lot, a couple times, maybe a year, you know, and the playground equipment gets used. I mean, the shelter gets rented quite often, but to get some other entertainment, otherwise everybody, you know, you can play cornhole and so that, and that's granted, but we can try to get some other activities going on out there. So,
I like it. Forward thinking.
all right.
We're good?
Good.
Anyone else, any other questions? I don't think there's anything else on the agenda this week, so
Well,
thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, let's move on then to the Highway Superintendent Monthly Report. Morning, Rick.
Good morning. Well, our guys started doing our fall mowing this week. So my little PSA, watch for the mowers. They're on that shoulder of the road. They're going less than 5 miles an hour. There's dust flying and everything else. So please be careful when you go by these guys. They're watching everything. Just be careful. We started doing some dig outs on County Road 8, which would be east of Rawville. The road was basically built out of black dirt years and years ago. And all summer it never healed up. So we're working on spots, digging those spots out, hauling the material away and hauling gravel in, putting fabric down, hauling gravel in, packing it, and then they'll be covered up with more gravel on top. Our asphalt projects are not complete yet. The asphalt has been laid. We still need shoulder work done up by the bus barn. That's still a process. We're working with the contractor and the engineer to try and get that situation straightened out up there.
Good, because it seems like I heard from a lot of constituents the last week or so, but that was one, they love the new road. They're so helpful, or happy that they have the new road, and they really appreciate it. But the shoulder work is bad.
Yes,
So they really need a lot of work.
yes,
I've
I'm
had-
not gonna argue with you on that. The contractor, and like I said, the contractor and the engineer, we're working on trying to get that figured out to fix that.
Of course, there was a farmer that talked to me, and I think, they can run those discs and everything better than most people can, right? Motor graders and the whole 9 yards, but, he said, you gotta do a better job than that, so.
So Rick, I've had the same discussion with a few people up there on 19th Street.
Yep.
And is there a time frame? What are we looking at with the contractors for the work
We're-
up there?
Just trying to get it worked out now.
Okay, so the issue is that it's too steep,
No,
or
they hauled
what's the
too
issue?
much gravel in.
Mhm.
They've tried to make it less steep, and now they've got gravel pushed clear down to the bottom of the ditch.
Okay,
And we're gonna have to take some of that gravel out, and it'll be steeper, but it'll be a nicer situation. They'll try and get some dirt over the top of that so it doesn't wash away, because
okay,
the gravel will just wash away.
Okay.
You know, if we get heavy rains and stuff, it'll come off that nice asphalt and
Mhm.
run right over the shoulder and wash more down into the ditch, so.
And
Could
then,
be an issue for the snowplows too.
Yeah, yeah, and there'll be a shoulder, it'll approximately a foot is what it'll be. You know, most of our roads do not have a big wide shoulder on like the state roads. You know, we're just not set up that way. You know, most of our roads are 25 feet wide and then it starts the inslope, so.
and then the other issue that was brought to my attention are the rumble strips on 19th Street, right in front of the houses over there. And it's driving the residents crazy. So what's going on with
They're
those?
not the only residents that have those in front of their house.
Yeah, but they're really deep and they're really loud because
Yeah.
I've driven over them and it's,
Yeah.
and if I had to sit in my living room and listen to that every day.
But they're not buying
So
that.
will they wear down over time or
They'll-
what?
They'll wear down over time,
Okay, okay.
but we're also, the engineer is working with the people that ground them to
Mhm.
see if we can modify those.
Okay, good.
I'm not exactly sure what the modification
Yeah,
will, but we're working on it.
Okay.
So we're not just,
Well, I appreciate you working
Yeah.
on it with
Yeah.
them because that, I know that would drive me crazy if I had to listen to that. And I think it's driving them crazy as
yeah,
well.
I feel their plight.
Yeah.
Were they placed in the correct,
Yes,
they were in the right place?
yes.
It just happens to be in front of two residents.
Yep.
So,
Mhm.
you know,
And
it
they
is
are
what it is.
fresh, they are new and they are deep. The way it looks.
Yeah.
Any deeper than anybody else
Maybe
in
they
the
can
others.
Take some
Yep,
of
they're
that
just fresh.
gravel out of the ditch and fill it in.
No, don't do that. It's-
No,
Don't
don't give
do
any
that.
ideas, please. Please.
The biggest thing that people forget about the rumble strips is they're there for a safety reason.
Correct. Yes, and with the stop sign right to the north of there, that's a busy avenue that takes people to the interstate.
And that.
I don't think that they've forgotten that the purpose, but I just
Yeah, but
think
when
that
you're
they're having to
drinking
deal with it.
coffee out on your front porch or deck in the morning and you have to listen to all that rumbles, that's terrible, you know?
Yeah.
Yep, and it's a busy street.
It is.
So
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for
Thank you.
looking into
Yep.
that.
Thank you.
we're working on it.
Okay.
We're working on
I
it.
keep telling them, just, it's not done. The project is
it's-
not done. Just be patient. It
Yep.
will be done sooner or later. So,
Yes.
all right.
Okay, the micro seal was completed on County Road 6A and 17-4. How is the ride, Charlie?
It's been a very, very good improvement. Heard a lot of comments from a lot of people and especially people that use tractors on that road. It's a lot smoother. Because, you know, tractors don't have you get the bounce. But yeah, there's a couple spots on it, but
Yeah.
all in all, it's
To me, it was about a 75% in better ride than what it was.
I'd put that at that.
Because that
and
was the
condition of
roughest-
the road.
That was the roughest road we had in Codington County. I was ashamed that
Hmm.
that was part of our road. It was really rough. And then other than milling it off and putting a new mat on it, that was the best thing that I could come up with. And it's a lot better than it was.
Yeah, it really smoothed it out. It took a lot of those, it's just a big improvement. It's not 100% like a new mat, no,
No.
but if it's 70, 75, 80% somewhere in there,
Mhm.
and when you take a look at the cost of a new mat versus this process,
Yes.
absolutely. Now we'll check on the longevity of it.
Yep. And this was the first time we used this process in the county. And I like it. On the other stretch, I'd say it improved the ride 100%. When you go off the end of that onto the next 3 miles, there's a drastic change. So I'll be looking at that next year. So,
And it was relatively quick.
yeah, it only takes about 2 days.
Yeah.
On that 3 mile stretch, because I sent Troy a video on it. And
Mhm.
they move right along.
Mhm.
When you're walking, it's a steady pace when you're walking with them, so.
So do they guarantee, maybe not guarantee, have they speculated the lifespan of that compared to, well, a mat's totally different, but what
Yes.
kind of a guarantee or what kind of a lifespan do
It
they have?
depends on the road, how broke up it is. This road that we're talking about on 17, the road itself was actually in good shape. It's just every crack that went across the road was a bump. And this process would last between 5 to 8 years. And this road that we have here is not a major highway. It stops at County Road or State Highway 20 and it dead ends 7 miles north there. Well, I shouldn't say it dead ends, but it turns into a
Yeah.
township gravel road.
Yep.
So it's not a collector like a lot of our roads. So, and most of it's local traffic, cars, there's some trucks, tractors, but it's not a busy road. There's more homes on that, just cars that travel that road.
Yeah, and then by the amount of traffic compared to, say, Sioux Conifer Road,
Oh,
it's, if they say it would last 5 to 7, 8 years on Sioux Conifer, I can see this going 8 to 12.
yeah. Yep. Yeah, because it's not a heavy truck traffic road.
No, it is not. And those people that do run trucks on it seem to always use their right axle.
Yep. And I've talked to a few people that haul on there like gravel and stuff, and they really appreciate the upgrade. So,
It's so smooth now. I'm getting complaints from those guys using their Jake brakes. I said,
Nothing is perfect even.
they can't be
brand
going
new.
fast enough to need their Jake brake, but. So I called the sheriff's department. They sent a deputy out there to shut down the Jake brake.
There you
I don't
go.
know. That's 6 of one, half a dozen of another.
okay, the shop in Henry, we did a bunch of work. We eliminated some excess stuff that used to be in there. Years ago, we had big, long benches in these shops and there was a lot of work done in those. We've shortened all that up, condensed everything, made it more open, painted. It had that old buffalo board on the side and it was kind of dull, dingy in there. We upgraded, painted and cleaned it all up. So it's a great improvement to that. Also, last week when I was at the county convention, the DOT that takes care of our striping, they would like to do away with the process that we have now. And what they're proposing is so much per mile, say if I do 30 miles of chip seal and 5 miles of asphalt, it would be an X amount of dollars for that. And then we would have to find someone to do the striping and all that stuff that currently the DOT takes care of now. The whole northeast corner, I think there's 14 counties that they bid that out and it's all taken care of them. We send them our miles and every year we have a resolution that we have to turn in. So, but they're thinking about changing that. It's going to cost us more money because it'll be more money for us to hire someone at a county at a time. So I just it's going to remain the same next year, but it's going to change. So they just don't know when because they had a show of hands of who wanted to change and there was none. So also the striping on the asphalt roads that we chip sealed this summer should be taken care of around the 1st of October, but that's all subject to weather too, because there's 14 counties, other counties that they work through. And I'm not sure if the same company has the rest of the state, but I know they have the 14 counties in the northeast corner of the state. So it's coming. They're all ready, but
So once they adopt this rule, it's gonna not only cost us more, but it's gonna make it a lot more difficult to coordinate getting our roads done with everybody else's.
correct, because there's only a few companies that do it.
And a piece of equipment like that is very complicated and very costly.
Yep. Exactly. Well, that's all I have for my monthly report. It's
All right. Any other questions for Rick? Otherwise, we'll move on to item number 9, action to approve highway department mechanic job description. Natalie gonna come up and explain what the change was.
Morning, Commissioners. So you should have in front of you an updated job description for our shop foreman mechanic position. We had a retirement out there after 30 years of service to the county. Todd retired last week, and so we need to fill that position. The job description, we added in the requirement for a Class A CDL, so I think that was the main thing. There was a typo that Lee found as well in like the second paragraph. So Lee, what you have up there where it says fabrics, or in the first bullet point should be fabrication. Anyway, so that's been fixed on one of the versions. And that's what we'll be approving. This will be, I feel like, a difficult possibly position to fill because there is the requirement of, you know, looking for somebody with some diesel mechanic knowledge or experience or education, the CDL, and then there's, you know, tracking parts and inventory. And so you need to have some bookwork abilities as well. But so we'd like to post this and
I'll make a motion to
Actually,
approve.
The first agenda item is to
approve the job description. Thank you.
And that's what my
Yeah.
motion is to approve the job description.
I'll second that.
All right, motion by Van Duzen.
I heard Charlie first.
Charlie, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Charlie got the second, Troy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, item number 10, action to advertise and hire a highway department mechanic to fill a vacancy.
So move.
Motion by Johnson,
Second.
second by Waterman. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. Are we gonna do just until filled? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
probably at this point, like I said, it could be a little bit more difficult to find the right skill set. So, yeah.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
All right, get it
That
filled.
motion carries.
Thank
All right,
you.
As soon as
Very
you can.
good.
All right.
Thank you. Item number 11, action to approve cell phone stipends for Deputy Flowers and Deputy Dodd.
Thanks, Ray.
Do you guys want to come up and explain that? And then you'll have the next item as well, so. Jeff here. Good morning.
Morning, Brad.
Come on, gentlemen.
All right. The cell phone stipends, we've got 2 new deputies. We just haven't gotten approved for this year. $40 a month for their phone usage. It's in their
What are the
contract.
effective dates for each of them?
Whatever was on there. I think one was whatever I sent you, I guess, whatever on that voucher.
Okay, I will have to go back and look. I don't have that.
One is starting next month here. And the other one was, I think, 2 months ago.
I think so.
One will be
Does that sound right?
retroactive.
It sounds
Yeah.
about right, yeah.
One's retroactive, one is.
Yeah.
going forward.
I'll make a motion to approve those cell phone stipends at a rate of $40 a month.
$40 each, yes.
Second.
Motion by Van Duzen, second by Gable. Any other comments or questions? Not hearing any, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? That motion carries. Item number 12 then, action to approve the purchase of an intercom system for the detention center as budgeted.
All right, well, we did budget for this year to do another improvement to the jail here. The intercom system, I know Troy's been in there to see it. I know Lee's been in there. It's straight from 1974 when they built it. It was upgraded, I think in 2000, or I'm gonna say 10 to 12 years ago to the same unit.
One is a Mountain Dew can, the other one is a Coke can, and there's a rope.
That's pretty
string
much
between.
what it is. It's an old box right now.
Yeah.
And we're talking about intercom system to the inmates into their cell block. So
Yeah.
when someone's in their cell block, they hit the button, it rings up, and we can see what cell block is calling. If there's a fight or safety issue or anything bad happening, or if they just need to talk to a correctional officer, they can get a hold of them that way. This new system here is gonna update this a little bit, and kind of bring us up into the times. There's gonna be a little camera in each one of these cell block areas with a little button. So if I'm in there in a tank, for instance, I hit that button to call up to talk to a correctional officer, it'll show us a picture of Myron or Troy or whoever we're talking to here, and it'll record that.
Myron.
Definitely Myron. right?
It'll be Myron, not me.
It'll actually record that interaction back and forth, which is another nice thing just for going forward.
Nice.
For court purposes and everything too. So it is a total of $49,838.69. That's to a computer so that they can monitor that in there. The milestone software, so we can hook it up with our system that we have right now, and also to run new wires to all of our cell blocks that currently have this system right now. The system that we have right now is having some issues, and getting parts is not happening. They've had to find some parts. Can you explain that, Matt? The button in the back there?
So each cell has a button they can buzz up to us. And now the parts that they found that will work with our system, they kind of rigged it together, they can buzz, but then it doesn't show us. If you're watching while they're buzzing it, you can see what room, but if you found your roommate hanging and you run up and buzz us, but then you run back to try and help him, we can no longer see what your room's buzzed. As soon as they let off of it, it's gone.
Who needs to help?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to like look at 90 cameras to try and figure out who's buzzing us.
So finding parts and trying to update.
So did you have enough budgeted for?
We do. We have enough budgeted for this project. Some of the other projects come in a little bit less, and this one was a little bit more than we'd planned, but it's still within our budget to make
Balanced
that happen. So
The question that I would have is, and suppose a miracle would happen and we would start building in different facilities. You can't move the wire, I know that, but I mean, as far as everything else would be, you could move.
yeah, in theory, you could move all this equipment. If we were to build a new facility, you'd have to have the old facility up working.
Yeah.
And the new facility up working, so you can slowly migrate and work back and forth. But yeah, in theory, all this stuff could be moved to a new facility. So
I'll make a motion to.
I'll
Sorry.
second.
Motion by Van Duzen, second by Gable. Any other comments or questions? Not hearing any. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? That motion
Who's
carries.
the company? Who's the
Madam
company?
Chair,
ITS.
Yes.
Madam Chair, yeah, I need to
Yes.
excuse myself. I need to excuse myself. I'm gonna go attend the regional jails summer study committee, so.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you.
joining, Lee. All right, thank you, guys.
Yep.
Let's move on then to item number 14, action to approve the auditor's account with the treasurer and note the monthly registered deeds fees.
The report in your packet shows you the cash and cash items on hand as of the last day of the month of August. It also shows you where our cash fund balances are on that second page. And then the registered deeds fees collected in the month of August were $34,752.90.
Need a motion to approve that?
Yep.
So
Motion by Johnson,
Second.
second by Van Duzen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, that motion carries. Claims for payment, we'll have one on there, is that coming up? So I'll let you
We
just,
will do the 911 claim first, which Troy
Oh.
normally recuses himself from.
Okay.
And that is a payment to the city of Watertown for the July 911 surcharge collections in the amount of $23,064.58.
all right.
move it approved.
Motion by Johnson,
Second.
second by Waterman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. All right.
And then we've got the remainder of the claims. There were some new ones that I gave to you this morning, our credit card claims that come at the end of the month. And then the larger claims list that I sent out to you last week. On that report, county share of claims was 1.397 million. And the state share was 665,000. We had a large road project that got paid for in August, or in September, I'm sorry, which left $746,000 in claims to the highway department. Actually, no, there's more. It's over $1 million in claims. And that payment was to Dunnick.
Move to.
Other than that, is there anything anybody has any questions on? On the welfare budget on page 6, about 3/4 of the way down that report, we returned unused funds to the South Dakota Housing Authority in the amount of $55,414.51. That was one of the ERA funding projects that we received from South Dakota Housing. So we returned that money to them. That was not part of the budget, so it was
It used to be passed through and now they have it coming from the
right,
county,
and
so.
it, it did not lower the welfare budget, is
No.
what I'm trying to say. And then on page 11, the emergency management budget, there were some Homeland Security grant funds spent in the amount of $6,699.72 to two-way solutions, and I believe those were for radios.
Yes.
Those are the highlights.
Move to approve.
Motion by Van Duzen,
Second,
second by Johnson. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, that motion carries. Item number 16, action to approve automatic budget supplements.
And then today,
Personnel changes, we have a few of
we
them.
have 2 of those. First one is Dakota Dodds has been hired as a deputy sheriff effective September 15th. He'll start at the entry level of $25.11 per month. And a new administrative assistant in the auditor's office started yesterday, Cindy Feldmeyer, at the entry level, step 1, $19.58 per hour. I will bring her in probably next month to introduce her to you.
Met her this morning in your office and
Okay.
she's a nice lady.
Okay.
Welcome aboard to both. Move to approve.
All right, motion by Van Duzen,
I'll second that.
second by Johnson. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. Travel requests.
2 travel requests, both from the facilities manager. One is for Memorial Park to attend the South Dakota Park and Recreational Annual Conference. The second one is the 2022 Joint Safety and Loss Training Conference, where we receive credits to our insurance premium for sending people to attend. We also received some awards at conference last week for our efforts to control loss and safety.
Yes.
I'll move to approve.
Motion by Johnson,
Second.
second by Waterman. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. Item number 19, public notices, possible forum of commissioners. So I'm trying to think, first district picnic,
Yeah.
that could affect all of us. It's all that I really have up till next Tuesday. Does anyone else have anything?
Not.
Okay. Any old business? Any new business? Anything for the open? I would just say that the county conference was very successful, good information. Again, there will be some resolutions coming forward from the association that hopefully there'll be sponsors or whatever, which I'm pretty sure there will be, bring them to the legislature. We do have a need for executive session.
Going back to the other.
Okay.
And just wanted me to make certain everybody understood what this was. This is.
Oh,
a-
Carol, yeah.
Who'd I say?
And
Carol.
Just down the hall from her.
Yep. other end, yeah,
Carol,
yes.
anyway,
Treasurer.
Yep.
we got it on, I got an email. I think
Mhm.
I did anyway during the week. I don't know if
Yes.
everybody
Yeah, we
else
all.
did.
Yeah, we all
But she
did.
just wanted us to have a hard copy in hand, and if there's anyone in here, please notify them ASAP, because she has to take care of this.
Yep, these are checks that we have issued that have not been canceled. And they are ready to be turned over to the state of South Dakota unclaimed properties if we can't make contact and get those reissued. So
It's much easier at the local.
if you know
level.
someone on the list, let her know.
All right. We do have a need to go into executive session, personnel, I guess is what we would put that under, right, Natalie? All right, so item number 1 under personnel. Need a
So
motion
moved.
motion by Johnson. I'll second that motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, there will be no, nothing afterwards, so